Welcome back to the First Pairing D podcast, guys.
Hi.
So, it's been a little while since we last had an episode here, but we've got a little bit of stuff to catch up on. Probably namely some free agents, as well as we got some of these rookie face-offs coming up here as we're heading into training camp. Those will be this week.
And of course, we can talk about the lovely U and RFAs too.
We know there's plenty of them.
I guess we should start with the big news before we forget it.
Probably for the best.
Nick Suzuki is captain at like 19 or however old he is.
He's 23.
Really?
Yeah, he's 23.
Huh. Well, still, that's pretty young.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I just feel bad for Brendan Gallagher.
yeah, that is kind of unfortunate, but I think they wanted to be able to move forward. Moving forward, you want the captain of the future that you've signed long term. Like it's the same thing that they did for McDavid.
But McDavid is a lot better than Nick Suzuki.
He is, but it's the idea of having that young star to be your captain.
I wonder how Cole Caulfield feels about this. If he's
I
like,
mean,
I'm the future too, and
well, to be fair, Caulfield is younger.
I have a headcanon that he's like throwing a hissy fit right now because it wasn't him.
Really?
And he's just like complaining to whoever the GM is, like, I'm the future too, why didn't I get a captain?
I mean, he might still get an A. We don't know.
No, they announced the A's too.
Oh, they did.
It was let me find my internet machine. One of them was Brendan Gallagher, and the other one was. Can I please load? Bro, why are they not saying who it is?
Maybe we'll have to look it up.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Just tell me. Like, come on, guys.
That sounds like it's being pretty rude.
It is being rude. All the posts are like, they're only mentioning Nick Suzuki, even though I know I saw one earlier today. I know for sure Brendan Gallagher is an A. Why I'm blanking hard on the other one.
Let's say I would expect Gallagher.
Well, while I figure it out, they also put an ad on their jersey, and I hate it.
Well, there's only one team that I know of that's refused ads, and that's the Oilers.
Good for the Oilers, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate that someone is standing up to it, and the reason they gave was literally something as simple as like, we don't think that's necessary.
And I mean, looking at the Habs one, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, oh, have you seen Minnesota's?
No, I haven't.
It's like a square that's on the right-hand upper side of the jersey, and it's a black patch with like a cyan blue and like a magenta logo thing. It like sticks out horribly.
What's the company?
I'd have to look up what the company was.
Joel Edmondson and Brendan Gallagher are the A's.
Okay, I mean, I guess that makes sense because they're some of the more veteran players.
Yeah, so Gallagher is no. Yeah, they both make total sense.
Let's see. So the Blue Jackets on all of their jerseys will have a SafeLight sponsorship.
The recording can hear your phone buzzing.
Oh, will have a Safelite sponsorship. Penguins will have a Highmark sponsor on their home jerseys. The Blues are going to have a Stifle ad on all their jerseys. Circa Las Vegas will be sponsoring the Knights at home, and the Capitals have a Caesars Sportsbook ad on their home jerseys. And I mean, at least like the Caesars one and the Vegas one, I've seen those, and they do kind of blend in color-wise.
Those honestly kind of fit too.
Yeah, I mean the Highmark one looks okay, except for the fact that the logo is blue on a black jersey. The background is black.
So neither of our team have one, or at least haven't announced one yet.
Haven't announced one. But yeah, that Montreal one's pretty egregious looking.
Yeah, I don't like it. Since we don't have visual cues, look it up yourself, you heathen. Viewer.
Yeah, I definitely don't like the ads so far. They're pretty terrible.
Agreed.
The Wild is some company called Tria.
I don't know what Tria is.
All I know is I hate it.
Another big extension in line with Suzuki was Tim Stutzla.
Yeah, that really big, it was like $8.3 million.
And I mean, good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good contract. I mean, it's going to be one that probably looks good in a few years. Right now, it looks like it could be a little bit of an overpay, but I think it's one that is going to look better and better over the next couple of years.
I definitely agree with that. You want to get him just long term. That makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty close to what Draisaitl's deal is. He's on an 8x8, and we've seen how that turned out. Now, I'm not saying that Stutzla is going to be Draisaitl,
but they are both German,
they are.
so there's some connection there.
He's definitely got some potential to be on an elite level, though. Most definitely.
Speaking of elite level, Evan Rodriguez was signed today too.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? 1 year, $2 million.
Yes.
I mean, he was coming off a pretty damn good year this past year, but that was, of course, a pretty much career year. I mean, he's 29. So he's from Etobicoke, which we drove through.
Which we bought hockey cards at.
I thought that was in Brampton.
No, that was at well, maybe it was both.
Let's see. So yeah, last year he was with the Penguins. 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. 5 points in 7 playoff games. But prior to this past year with the 19 goals, his career high in goals was 9.
Yeah, but on that Avs second line, he's probably going to get 20 or close to again.
Yeah, he's going to be playing with a good team. So even if he is on the third line, even like
he's probably going to get power play time too.
Maybe, I don't know. They have Newhook and Martin Kaut that they want to keep getting ice time too. So
yeah, but
I would not be surprised at all.
Evan could center them.
Maybe, but isn't that what? I'm trying to remember, because there was. Is it Comfer that's still on the Avs?
I have no idea.
I want to say it's Comfer because Jost is on the Wild now, and Kerfoot is with the Leafs. So I think it's Comfer. I think Comfer could be a good third line center, at least a good third line player, even if he's not a center.
Yeah. Who else? Oh yeah, Mikey Anderson.
that was one that I was waiting for. It was funny. There was a guy on King's Twitter that nonstop kept putting. It was his thing every day, posting a picture of Steve Buscemi every day until they signed Mikey Anderson and John Dursey.
I guess he's still gotta put pictures up then, because Sean Dursey has not been signed yet.
No, he hasn't. But they were really usually like really uncomfortably gross looking pictures of Steve Buscemi. It was kind of funny.
According to Kings insider John Hoven, the deal with Dursey remains a work in progress while sides have exchanged various proposals. So that is a quote, I guess.
Yeah, I've been guessing that Dursey was going to try to ask for a bit more than I think they should give him right now. Because this was this was rookie year. He was good, don't get me wrong, he was offensively good. He had some defensive issues here and there. I can't see giving him more than 1.5 right now on just like a 1-year kind of deal. Maybe 2.
Apparently Dursey was at the Kings. What is this?
The 5K.
Yeah, so for an unsigned player to be going to team events, I think that means he's close.
Yeah, no, I'd say that he's definitely close to signing.
But Mikey at least is good. I mean, that's one of your top 2 defensemen.
Yeah, 1 year, $1 million for a guy that's been playing with Drew. I mean, hopefully he can offensively put up a few better statistics, because he's very solid defensively, but
I don't think he has to be offensive.
I mean, he doesn't have to be, but when it comes to the Kings, though, I'll take it, because just for so many years they were known as not being able to score. And I think some of that's fixed with Arvidsson.
But who scored that cup-winning goal? It was a defenseman. It was the Latino.
He was from Michigan.
What else was news?
Well, we had the rookie face-offs. So the Kings will be playing. I want to say it's the Ducks, the Ducks, the Coyotes, the Avs, the Sharks, and Vegas rookies. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this Kings roster can do. We got Pinelli, Turcotte, Akil Thomas, Martin Chromiak. For some reason they're still having Quentin Byfield do this, even though he technically I don't think qualifies as a rookie.
The Coyotes have Connor Geeky, Gunther, Julian Lutz, McBain, Nathan Smith, defensemen I've never heard of, not a single one of them, and 3 goalies I'm not familiar with. But I mean, those guys are listed at least. It'd be good to see where they're at. Liam Kirk too, who's not going to make the team, but I'm rooting for him.
They're with the Roadrunners, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing Samuel Hellenius, Kim Noosanen, Grant Clark. I'm really excited to see, and I mean Jordan Spence, Logan Grands, they're both good. But Brant Clark, I'm excited to see what he can do in a best on best prospect kind of tournament.
I'm kind of surprised that JJ Moser. Well, I guess Moser's has a roster spot, but like Matthias Michelli and Jan Yannick probably could be in this too.
Are they not?
No.
So what was the reason for not having them?
I don't know.
It's just kind of weird to me. But, well, all things considered, though.
I guess Matthias and Jan both at least have AHL spots, so they wanted to test like younger guys, maybe.
Oh, and that makes sense to me. What is let's see. Let's see if I can find the rosters for the other teams. So Vegas is going to be looking for Brendan Brisson and Zach Dean to really be putting on a show, and Ivan Moritov. Those are basically some of the only prospects they. Oh, I mean, they have Daniel Chaika, and Lucas Cormier, but those are basically the only prospects that Vegas has that were sort of big names to begin with. Anna Slime. They have. Well, okay. Gotta think. Oh, interesting. McTavish isn't. Oh no, there he is. There he is. We got McTavish. I don't remember how to pronounce that guy's name. Jacob Perot, Braden Tracy. Olin Zellweger. So they've got some okay guys on there. The Avs, I'm not really sure what they've got left in the system much anymore.
No idea.
I've heard of Alex Bocage, and they have Jean-Luc Foudy, a little brother. Oscar Olafson. Anyone else sticking out? So far, no.
I do have some breaking news.
Oh, something just happened?
Well, not just happened, but something none of us knew until right now. So, personal hero, Mark McNeil, Pinhead. Last season, he played with the Frederikshavn Whitehawks in Denmark. 9 goals, 20 assists, in 43 games. Upcoming, he's going to be playing with Verselb in Division 2 German hockey. So, look out for Mark McNeil in Germany.
Mark McNeil, Pinhead the hero.
I can't wait to forget to watch his games.
For reference, Mark McNeil was one of our heroes in NHL. I want to say it was NHL 16. For some reason, he could still be rated as high as an 83 in that game, which makes no sense.
Because he was a first-round pick.
Doesn't mean anything. First-round pick in 2011.
Other personal hero, Brett Connolly, has signed with HC Lugano of the Swiss League.
That's probably for the best, considering how tired and gross he looked last time. No, I mean, obviously, he can't help that, but like he just looked like he aged so much.
I saw him with the Ice Hogs at a Monsters game where he played all 5 skater positions, and it was incredible.
That's really random.
Apparently, he played 9 NHL games with the Blackhawks last year.
I seem to remember that happening.
God, he's 30 and he looks like he's 57.
Yeah, he really hasn't aged well.
So, I can't wait to also forget to watch Brett's games in the Swiss League.
I mean, let's be honest. He's going to end up being one of those random career videos that that we're going to look at and just go like, what happened? Like, he wasn't terrible forever.
No. Doesn't he have a cup?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he was on the Caps Cup team.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he? I mean, 536 NHL games, 195 points. Like, it could be better, but he's played 42 playoff games.
On that Cup team, he had 9 points in 24 playoff games.
Like, he's never been a terrible player.
Like I said, I saw him play all 5 skater positions.
Yeah, I mean, the 18-19 season with the Caps, he had 46 points. and 33 with the Panthers the next year. Then he really just took a hard fall.
Yeah, so when one or both of us acquires a Brett Connolly card, be ready for a card careers video on him.
We're gonna have so much amazing fun with that video.
I'm gonna try to find footage from that game I went to. And maybe
You're
you
gonna be
can...
able to find,
Huh?
find footage. You think you're gonna find footage from that?
I mean, doesn't the AHL just, like, post their games on YouTube?
Do they? I thought
Maybe.
there's AHL TV. I know that.
There's gotta be, like, a record of it somewhere. Like, it was... Someone recorded it. I wonder if you can hear me and my buddies yelling support of Brett Connolly every time he touched the puck in the video too.
Probably not, considering that you guys were sitting fairly high up, were you not?
No, we were in like it was a minor league hockey game. We were in like the 100s for $20.
That's not too bad.
And like if I don't know, but you probably can't hear us. But if there was a camera nearby, maybe just maybe you could.
It'd have to be really damn close to where you were.
Yeah. Anyways, Brett Connolly, good luck in Switzerland. I hope you're a star.
Well, we already know that he's going to be one of the best players on the team.
I mean, he does have NHL experience, and he's going to Europe, so...
Yeah, and honestly, Europe's not a bad deal for guys that just couldn't make it here.
Yeah, but the Swiss league isn't as good as, like, the Swedish league, or the Finnish league, or the KHL, so he'd probably be, like, decent in the Swiss league.
Yeah, well, because at least it's a it's a men's league. So like it's not like he'll be playing against guys that are potentially prospects.
Yeah. He's gonna be
Well, I
playing
mean,
against,
look,
like... Well, a few, sure, but...
not many. I mean, like that's where Matthews played his pre-draft season.
In the Swiss league?
Hmm? Played for HC Zurich
That's fun.
because he wanted to play against men before he got drafted.
Was there any other, like, signings or news?
No big ones. Yeah, obviously we had, Ottinger a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Thought
that
was a
was...
good deal.
He got, what, $6 million?
Pick that up again, but because I want to say, yeah, 3-year, $12 million deal, so $4 mil.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good deal. That's probably cheaper than they could have got him for.
It doesn't leave them a lot of money to try to sign Robertson with. Is the problem.
No, it doesn't.
So where they end up going with Robertson, I don't know, because reportedly he was asking for a deal that was around $7 million a year. Which, if that was true, I don't know why they didn't take that. The owner being cheap or something. So some of the players that are still left.
Robertson, of course, is the big one.
I'm sorry, who?
Robertson?
Oh yeah. But if we're talking about like our UFAs, they're still left.
Calvin DeHaan.
Yeah, Calvin DeHaan, but he's on a PTO.
Tyler Bozak?
Yeah, he is. I mean, obviously PK Subban, but the fact that he doesn't really have any interest, it is a little surprising.
Well, we don't know it's a fact. It was supposedly he doesn't have any interest.
And because you'd think that if a team gave him 900K, he'd still be at least a serviceable, like, number 5 or 4.
Yeah, I don't think he's a defensive liability or anything.
No. Um, see, Holtby, he's still available. Surprised he hasn't been picked up by a team that just needs a goalie.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm
Speaking
surprised.
of defensive liabilities, I think Keith Yandel is available too.
I believe he is. I'm a little surprised that Arizona didn't try to pick up Holtby on a cheap deal.
He
Like, I
might
know
win too many games.
well, I was gonna say, I know they're trying to tank, but I mean, even Holtby, as bad as he's been the past few years, that's still better than Gillies.
I mean, Gillies doesn't really matter. I suppose it's possible that maybe GMBA really does just want to give Prosvetov a real shot. Let him develop some.
That's certainly possible. Now, the free agent that really surprises me, still left, is Sonny Milano.
Is he a UFA?
Yeah, he's a UFA. 66 games, 34 points, 14 goals. He played pretty well with Zegras last year. It's just kind of shocking to me that no one's given him a chance. It makes me wonder if he's got some kind of attitude issues or if something's going on.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
Broussard is still a free agent. Blake Como, Brandon Sutter. What was it? Chara. There's a couple of UFAs like Tyler Parsons, like guys that were drafted that just didn't get signed. It kind of surprised me a little bit. Yeah, Galchenyuk. I mean, again, points, but still not bad for the fact that he played 21 points, for the fact that he played league minimum.
Yeah, I mean, Galchenyuk, I guess most teams are just like up against the cap as is, and they don't really need Galchenyuk.
I mean, he played with Arizona last year. They could give him a spot if they needed one.
Yeah, it might happen
Like,
again.
Joe Thornton and Zdeno Chara, those might be guys that get signed like midway through the season to give a team like a little boost before the playoffs.
Assuming they're not retired, like we don't know at this point.
This is true. Daniel Sprong's another one that's a little weird. Like, I know he hasn't had greatest seasons recently, but like last year, he had 20 points in, what is that? 63 games. Like, it's not great, but he's still not bad.
Did Jason Spezza officially retire?
I believe Spezza. Just make sure though.
If he didn't, he could probably get like a year million deal too.
Oh yeah, Jason Rocco Anthony Spezza.
Oh, speaking of Rocco, that's one that surprises me too. Rocco Grimaldi.
Yeah, the fact that he's a free agent.
Like, he's not a great player, but he's solid.
I'm pretty sure. Is he? Well, Grimaldi's one of those guys that's kind of always going to be a like tweener between the AHL and the NHL.
Yeah.
But like just thinking of where teams are at now that we're just about to get to training camp. We don't quite know what rosters are going to look like. But maybe, just maybe, some way too early cup prediction.
Well, before we do that, I do have some of the biggest RFAs that haven't been signed to.
Okay, RFAs.
We did Robertson, we did Dursey.
Hmm.
Alex Fornbenton hasn't been signed yet.
That's interesting. And Ottawa still has some money.
Pierre Dorian is apparently said to still be poking around for blue line help. He
Well,
did
he
say that he expects Fornbenton to be signed before camp.
training camp.
So I guess they're not that far off then.
Yeah, but I mean, we know that Arizona tried to get Chikrin, it just didn't happen.
What?
Ottawa?
Arizona tried to get Chikrin?
I meant Ottawa.
Oh. Well, they might still be trying at this point. Who knows, honestly.
Yeah, I heard that Arizona kind of told them off. But
Good. Fucking Ottawa fans. Arizona still needs to sign Barrett Hayton, but Craig Morgan says that also they're close and that he should be signed before camp.
they have to. Like, he really can't ask for that much money.
No. I assume he's going to get like a bridge deal. He's definitely trending upwards, though, so, I mean, I don't know why the team wouldn't give him maybe a little bit of a bonus right now. They're not exactly hurting in cap space.
I mean, yeah, give him $1 million or $1.5 million or something for a year or two. I mean, it's not going to do anything.
Now, on the bad side, Rasmus Sandin is the RFA.
Leafs are screwed.
And Sandin's agent said, quote, negotiations are going nowhere.
Well, it's because Sandin knows he can ask for between 3 and I'll say 4.5. Even a bridge deal could be 3 to 4, and Toronto has no cap space. Like, they have to get rid of somebody if they want to keep Sandin.
But, I mean, so you think he's going to get traded, or what do you think's going to happen there?
I think they'll do anything to try to keep him from being traded, but that would mean getting rid of some forward. They don't really have the cheap forward depth on the Marlies.
Isn't he a defenseman?
Yeah, but if you trade a forward out, that's where most of the money is.
What spot does he have on their D-core?
I mean, he's a guy that can honestly be a top 4, like a 3 or a 4. I mean, he proved it. If you look at the structure of their defense, like Morgan Riley, good. Jake Muzzin, still pretty good. DJ Brody, not bad. Justin Hull. I mean, Timothy Liljegren will stay on the blue line, that's for sure. They have Giordano at 800,000, so like it's not Gio that's the problem.
Yeah. On one hand, I want to see him do well. On the other, I want to see the Leafs suffer, so...
So, looking at the Leafs right now, they have 2 more years of Matthews and Nylander. And then they have 3 more years of Tavares and Marner. God, that seems like just yesterday that they signed those deals, didn't it?
Yeah. 2 years left feels... Wow.
Well, Matthews only signed for 5 years.
Still,
But,
it feels
but,
like a week ago.
well, it does not feel like Tavares and Marner have played for 4 years since they signed those deals.
No, it doesn't.
Wasn't Tavares' deal a 7-year deal?
I don't remember.
I mean, that's just wild.
Speaking of the Wild, Nicholas Hague, who's with Vegas, is also an RFA.
What does that have to do with the Wild?
Nothing, but it was funny.
Well, Vegas is having their own cap problems, but most of that is being eaten up in TIR
But
right now.
Las Vegas's guy, some like reporter there, said that there has been very little dialogue since early July between Haig and the team, and that Haig is, quote, getting concerned with the lack of communication. So that
Yeah,
sounds like Vegas is doing so good right now with him.
they need to keep him because he's one of the few younger defensemen they have left.
Yeah. We do know that they love just getting rid of their prospects, though.
Yeah, well, let's see. Looking at next year, so they only have Jonathan Marchessault for one more year after this year. Um, anyone else? See, the deal that's gonna bite Vegas in the ass, honestly, is gonna be Alex Pietrangelo. That's just, it's not good. He's been good. He's played good so far, but 8.8 million for another 5 years, and he's 32. Nope.
We also have Ryan McLeod, who's an RFA.
Ryan McLeod.
Yeah.
Oh, the Oilers kid.
Yeah.
I feel like they'll get him signed.
Yeah, supposedly there's not much concern. But, I feel like he's a good guy to have signed. He can grow. He can be something.
Oh no, absolutely.
Then there's the Italian, Adam Ruzicka, with the Flames.
I'm Italian.
You need to follow Scorchstack on Twitter. He's part of the, he's canonically Italian so that he can be on the Italian line with Mangiapane and Toffoli.
Okay. I mean, he's from Bratislava.
Okay, but it's the meme. You need to follow Scorchstack. It's a good follow. But yeah, Ruzicka, they should sign him. He's got a lot of potential.
Well, yeah, they need to keep him. Calgary doesn't have a whole lot of money either, though. Yeah, just 2.1 million in cap.
They should give like all of that to him, I think, or at least like 1.5.
Probably fair.
Yeah, those are the big RFAs.
Yeah. Oh God, Lucic's. This is the last year of Lucic's really terrible contract. Feels like forever ago that he was with the King that 1 year.
I don't remember that at all.
He was popular, but like he just wanted too much money. Like if the Kings had signed Lucic to a deal like that, I'd be furious.
Well, but they didn't, so it's all good in the hood. Where the Kings play, in the hood.
I mean, LA Live isn't. LA Live is fine.
Well, yeah,
But
the 3 blocks around Staples Center is fine, but after that, it's not great.
well, it's because they've been, especially the last few years, they've really been trying to like add a lot of like fancy apartments and stuff around there.
I wouldn't want to live there, man. Like I said, there's a couple blocks that are really nice, and then
Yeah.
you're just in like Payne Town.
Well, I know that the reason that they've been adding all that stuff is because they're trying to get more like young business professionals to live there and trying to like push some of that out of that area. But let's put it this way, every time I go to a game, there's at least a couple of hobos wandering around trying to buy tickets off people.
Yeah, that sounds like LA, alright.
But to be fair though, most of the people that go to Kings games don't live in downtown. They come from the beach cities or TV or whatever.
Even the players come from the beach cities.
Yes, they do.
Uh, the Giants signed Wilmer Flores to 2 years, so that's fun. I like him.
Pretending I know who that is.
He's been a solid, consistent hitter and defensive player since his last year with the Mets, and I'm excited to have him back.
But is he as good of a defensive player as Louis Erickson?
Uh, yes, but he's not the king, so that evens out, I guess. I guess now it's time for our way too early cup predictions.
Well, for starters, you could be rich based on these odds.
What?
If you put down $1 on either the Chicago Blackhawks or the Arizona Coyotes to win the Stanley Cup, you could win $100,000.
It might be honestly be worth it to put like $10 on every team.
My dad and I talked about that once. Like, how much is. How little could you put down on every team and still make your money back? Because ideally, it would have to be a team that's somewhere in the middle of the betting odds for you to actually make your money back.
Yeah.
Because, like, so the Avs, they have the highest, the best odds. They're plus 380. So, I don't see the Avs winning again.
No, I don't either.
And Francouz is good for what he does, but Georgiev is not Darcy Kemper. They lost Kadri, and we got to keep in mind they lost Burakovsky, so that's basically 2/3 of their second line.
And they lost the league's best defenseman, Jack Johnson.
So the next best odds are the Panthers, actually.
Really?
Yes, they are. Somehow the Panthers and the Leafs have the same odds, which is kind of atrocious.
Okay, the Leafs, they can't even make it to the second round.
I feel like the only reason that they have the Leafs with high odds like that is to make Canadian people like bet on it.
Yeah. The Panthers though, I want to say they have a shot. I mean, they definitely have more playoff experience now. It just
Certainly do.
it depends if they can build off that.
Well, they actually brought in more playoff experience because Matt Tkachuk has played more playoff games than anyone else on that roster that's left, pretty much.
Yeah. Maybe not
Except for maybe
Bobrovsky.
Barkov. Yeah, well, Bobrovsky no, and Barkov no.
But I mean, I think Kachuk is a good replacement for Huberdeau. They're pretty equivalent players. Uyghur is gonna hurt, I think, though,
That probably will, yeah.
because he wasn't great in the playoffs, but he was really important in the season itself.
You're just gonna have to try to ride Ekblad.
Yeah, that's the other one too. Ekblad does have injury problems.
Now looking just past them, you got the Hurricanes and the Lightning and the Oilers that are all fairly close together there.
I mean, those are all good teams.
I was gonna say, I think the Oilers do actually have a legitimate shot of coming out of the West.
Oh, for sure. I was gonna say that I think my Western Conference Finals prediction would be probably the Oilers beating the Avs in like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Avs again. I saw something earlier predicting that the Wild would make it to the conference final.
The Wild aren't as good as they were. The Wild is just Kaprizov, honestly.
Well, their first line is performed very well. I mean, they got Ryan Hartman to be like a 50-60 point guy.
Okay, yeah, but like that's still like a good line. The rest are just like they're good, not great. I don't think they're.
I mean, Joel Eriksson Ek is a good like defensive. He's kind of like the new Mikko Koivu. But I think what could be sort of a make or break thing as far as how far they can go is how Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy play.
Yeah.
If those guys come in and they end up playing really well, maybe they do make it to the second or third round. But
I don't think they're making the conference final, though. I think they'll be a playoff
oh,
team, but not a conference
yeah,
final team.
no, I don't see it. And honestly, I don't even know if I see the Flames making it that far.
Well, you say that about the Flames all the time.
Yes, I do.
You have like a personal grudge against them.
Um, well, it's because people talk them up so much, and they basically prove everybody wrong every time by being bad.
The Flames, I don't think they need to this year because they've got that core. Like they have had like maybe 2 or 3 years to try to win the cup here.
Well, because you lose Gaudreau and Kachuk, that's basically like 215 points right there.
Well, Huberto makes
Bring
up
in,
another 100, so
yeah, you bring in Huberto, take half of that, and I mean Uyghur's a good addition, but honestly, I don't really know if their defense that wasn't their problem. And yeah, they beat the Stars, but then the Oilers turned around and swept them. They just couldn't score. At least not well enough to beat the Oilers. But
I don't know.
and Markstrom is like 33 or 34 now.
He's still pretty good though.
Yeah, he's still pretty good. But I just don't. I don't know if they're better. And then they signed Kadri to that deal, which he'll be good to start with, but I don't think he's gonna be good in like 4 years
No, that's why I think their window right now is like 3 years.
at best.
So, the Kings, playoff team, not a cup team, I don't think.
Probably not a cup team, but they certainly have a chance at being like a second round team.
It depends who they get matched up with. It's kind of hit or miss.
Because they were good 5-on-5, and if Fiala comes in and helps with the power play,
If Edler's
and
healthy
if
too,
Alex,
that's another blue line threat on the power play.
oh, and something that they were missing against the Oilers was Drew Doughty.
Yeah,
They pushed the Oilers to 7 without Drew Doughty. So, if he was in that series, could have gone differently
yeah. I think the West Conference Final is still going to be Avs Oilers, with the Oilers winning.
this time.
I think the East is going to be like. It can't be Carolina and Tampa, can it? They're in the same division.
No, they're not.
Oh, then I think it'll be Carolina, Tampa in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And they have gone against each other, and Tampa won.
Yeah, I don't know who I think is.
Because Tampa's still got Hagel, and they still have guys like Alex Barré-Boulet and Gabriel Fortier that can come up and play for them for cheap.
And we know that Nick Paul, like, he turned it the fuck on in the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
But I mean, my gut says Tampa, but I want the Hurricanes to beat them. So my way too early prediction is gonna be that series goes to 7, and the Hurricanes win Game 7 by like in like a 2-1 game in overtime, and then the Canes beat the Oilers in 6.
That would be a almost repeat of the 2006 Stanley Cup Final.
With Cam Ward.
That was the Oilers and the Canes in Game 7.
Huh. Of course, Cam Ward is gone now.
Yeah. But Rod Brindamore is the coach, and that was his Stanley Cup win.
That's true. He captained that team.
Yeah. Although, honestly, though, I don't know if I see the Canes necessarily. They got to get through the Rangers. If the Canes want to make it to the Stanley Cup Final, they have to go through the Rangers.
I think they can do it.
I mean,
I think they
Fox
have
keeps
better
getting.
depth.
I mean, Fox keeps getting better. Keandre Miller's getting better. Lafreniere's getting better. I don't know if I see them being able to handle all those threats.
I'm not saying that like they'll sweep them or anything, but I think they can beat the Rangers
I mean, I think it's going to come down to Shesterkin versus, was it Ronta?
or
Or
was it
Freddie Anderson?
Freddie? I think Ronto was the backup
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Rangers might end up being in the conference final.
against Tampa.
I feel like I want to say it's going to be Tampa because I mean, if they made it to the finals 3 out of 4, or sorry, if they made it to the final 4 years in a row and somehow managed to win 3 out of 4, that officially starts a dynasty. But at some point, Tampa is going to have to lose in a round that isn't the Stanley Cup final.
I would argue that even if they make it 3 out of 5, that's still a dynasty.
Well, yeah, that was the argument people were making with the Blackhawks. They won in 10, 13, and 15.
But if Tampa loses this year, so they lose 2 in a row, and then they win another one, I would still count that as a dynasty for them.
That's the closest thing you can get. I mean, the idea of winning 3 or 4 cups in a row just doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
It came damn close, though.
Yeah, they really did. So, wait, so who are your final picks for the conference finals and the cup winner?
I still think the Oilers make it to the conference final. And yeah, I could still see it being the Avalanche. But I see the Oilers making it to the final.
Okay. And who do you have in the East?
In the East, I think if you get another Battle of Florida, I think whoever wins that is going to the cup, or sorry, the conference final.
Against the Rangers?
Yeah, and I think the Rangers might be the Metro team, just because, especially if Igor has another year like that, he might be able to just do it himself.
Another Hart caliber year, voters. A Hart winning year, voters. Slime balls.
Yeah, well, if he has another season even close to that, I think he probably ends up being able to at least steal a round. When that round would be, I don't know.
So who do you
Stealing,
think? Huh?
huh?
Who do you think wins the cup then?
Uh, at that point, if you got the Oilers and the Rangers, I think the defense would go to the Rangers just because of Fox and Trouba. But at forwards, that goes to the Oilers 1,000%. I think that would come down to probably just who could score more. Because Igor would be the goalie edge, but you can't score if you don't get the puck.
Yeah, I would say the Oilers win against the Rangers.
And I feel like that would be like 6, maybe 7.
What if it's Oilers versus the Cats?
That was a Oilers. Oh, that would be interesting. I still feel like because if the Oilers are in fact rolling 3 lines easily that all can score, that might be a bit much, especially with the Cats losing Uyghur. But
The Panthers are all scoring lines too, though.
yeah, well, you also add Matt Kachuk, who's a troublemaker.
Him and Barkov is going to be a spicy line.
Oh, I think they're going to be really good together.
That's a meatball right there.
I think Florida's biggest problem, weirdly enough, is goaltending.
Yeah,
And they're still paying Sergei like another 4 years or 5 years at like 10 million.
I mean, I like Sergey a lot, but he's still good, but he's not dynamite anymore.
No, well, he was never great in the playoffs. Like that's just his record. Just was never great in the playoffs. Um, Spencer Knight is getting better, but he's not there yet. He's not a cup winner.
No, I mean, probably not, but he could become like 2006 Cam Ward.
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, Campbell isn't either, but
I think
I
Spencer
just,
Knight has more upside than Campbell.
well, yeah, Spencer Knight's pretty young. Campbell's like 27. But I think playing on a team like the Oilers, Campbell's numbers will be pretty decent.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I think in both against the Rangers and the Cats, though, the Oilers probably do win in like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, both of those scenarios, I see the Oilers winning.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So my early prediction is still Hurricanes barely beat the Oilers, and I guess yours is Oilers win.
Yeah, I'd still pick the Oilers right now. It's like after seeing what they did in the playoffs last year, you know that they're probably angry.
Oh, neat. My Nick Merkley card shipped.
I think we've. Oh, my other cards should be here. The mailman was here,
Oh.
so I'll have to go check that out soon.
Is there anything else to discuss, or are we done?
Well, I would just like to point out we will be doing some card career videos soon.
Probably like tomorrow.
Yeah, so be ready for that, people.
All zero of you
adoring,
listening.
yes, our adoring fans, we will show you the best content we can make.
And also, if any of our fans want to buy a Austin Matthews OPG Platinum Retro Rookie card, let us know.
You can also find that on eBay, apparently.
Or just leave a comment and, like, if it hasn't sold yet, it's probably yours. If you don't lowball me. And also an Eric Carlson dual patch numbered 001 out of 125. Artifacts.
The fact that you landed a 1 is kind of interesting, though.
Yeah, nobody on eBay has even viewed it yet.
That sucks.
So yeah, viewers, buy the 2 hockey cards I'm selling.
And be sure to look out as we get closer to the release date. We're gonna be looking for that brand new series platinum. I'm sorry, not platinum. Well, maybe platinum, depending on how expensive it is. Platinum, ice, and SPX. So look out for that, guys.
Yeah. Is that everything?
That is everything I have.
Let me just double check. There wasn't any like horribly obvious NHL news we missed.
I don't think we did. Like, we talk about it pretty regularly.
Did we talk about Michael Stone?
Well, getting a PTO again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of PTOs.
Well, that one happens like every single year with the Flames.
Yeah, and then we got Jimmy Vesey, who went from like hero to 0. So, I mean, we'll kind of have to see how those go over training camp, and then we can sort of readjust some of our predictions from there. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys for joining us today. We'll see you guys again next time on First Pairing D Podcast.
Bye.